There was a smear campaign against us for over a year. There was a smear campaign against me personally. A lot of things were said about me personally which weren't true. I have told everyone who wanted to listen that Justin's a great guy. He's innocent of anything he was accused of.
Listen up, Steve Sarowitz has finally broken his silence about the entire Justin Baldoni controversy, and his comments are already drawing major attention. The interview delivers claims that could prove deeply damaging to Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. According to the narrator, the couple believed they could pressure a billionaire into backing down. But Steve's version of events paints a very different picture and challenges that narrative head-on.
We do movies about people showing the nobility of every human being, and it ends with us as one of those movies. I don't want to be known for the controversy. I want to be known as someone who tried to make good movies and tried to make the world a better place. To me, the controversy was a lot. It was much ado about nothing. There really was no wrong done. The wrong was done to us.
According to the narrator, Steve Sarowitz built his wealth away from the public eye and entered the film industry simply to support projects through Wayfarer Studios rather than seek celebrity status. The narrator claims Blake Lively believed she could pressure him into reaching a financial settlement, but underestimated the situation. They argue that, with an estimated net worth of around $2.3 billion, Sarowitz had the resources to continue a lengthy legal battle, if necessary, and chose to stand behind his friend Justin Baldoni, instead of compromising his principles.
He needed his support.
In hard times, you know who your friends are. I stuck by Justin 100% every step of the way. My faith was strong going into this. My faith is strong coming out of this. I live to try and make humanity a better place.
In this interview, Steve is making it clear that Justin and Jamie Heath were the real victims and everything Blake Lively said about them was not true.
Not true.
Jamie and Justin were both accused falsely, and we were vindicated. And so I'll say that. I'm happy we're through this. It's been very painful. It's been very expensive.
According to the narrator, Blake Lively believed that enough legal pressure would eventually convince Steve Sarowitz to persuade Justin Baldoni to settle the dispute. The narrator suggests she assumed everyone has a breaking point, and that financial pressure would ultimately outweigh loyalty. Instead, they claim Sarowitz chose to stand firmly beside Baldoni, refusing to prioritize money over his principles. From the narrator's perspective, that decision reflected a commitment to friendship and integrity rather than financial convenience, challenging the outcome they believe Blake had anticipated.
Over profit.
I don't really care to make, two wrongs don't make a right. For me to say terrible things about another human being is not going to help the situation.
According to the narrator, Blake Lively's biggest miscalculation was choosing to challenge Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios. They argue that while many Hollywood companies have faced public controversies, Wayfarer had built a reputation for operating differently. The narrator suggests Blake never considered the possibility that there might be nothing damaging to uncover. From that perspective, the strategy began to unravel. Rather than exposing a growing list of scandals, the narrator claims ordinary interactions had to be portrayed as something more significant. Everyday conversations required added interpretation, and routine disagreements were presented as major incidents. As additional information surfaced, the focus allegedly shifted away from questioning Baldoni's actions and toward inconsistencies in Blake's own claims. The narrator then turns to Wayfarer's founder, Steve Sarowitz, arguing that he had every opportunity to end the conflict with a financial settlement. With the resources to write a check and move on, many people might have chosen the easier path. Instead, the narrator says Sarowitz decided to continue the fight because he believed certain principles were worth defending, regardless of the cost. According to this account, Sarowitz wasn't using his wealth to overpower the other side. Rather, the narrator claims he used his financial resources to ensure that neither he nor Justin Baldoni would feel pressured into surrendering, standing by his friend even as the legal battle intensified.
Justin Baldoni.
Fortunately, our company was protected from the worst of it. 10 out of 13 of the claims were thrown out. We were able to settle without paying any money. I think that's a victory for us. It's a very difficult, long and hard-fought victory.
What began as a courtroom dispute soon spilled into real life in a frightening way. One morning, Steve and his wife woke up to discover that someone had intentionally set a trash bin on fire in their driveway. That incident marked a turning point. Until then, everything had been limited to legal filings and courtroom arguments. After that, it became something much more personal. If the fire had been an isolated event, it might have been dismissed as simple vandalism. But only hours later, Steve's wife received a disturbing message that erased any doubt. The sender claimed responsibility for the fire and warned, "If you are willing to spend $100 million trying to ruin Blake Lively and her family, then surely you can spare a few for your daughter." The reference to Blake's lawsuit made it clear that whoever sent the threat believed Steve's family had become a target because of the highly publicized legal battle. From that point forward, the fear only intensified. Each day brought new uncertainty, leaving the family wondering whether another threat might turn into something even more dangerous. Determined to keep his loved ones safe, Steve increased security around their home, while additional protection was also assigned to the Wayfarer Foundation headquarters. What had started as a legal conflict had now reached the point where professional security was needed to protect people in their everyday lives. The situation escalated even further when investigators identified a 26-year-old suspect, who was later arrested and charged with several offenses connected to the alleged intimidation campaign. With every new revelation, it became increasingly obvious that this was no longer a typical business or legal dispute. It had evolved into a much darker situation that affected everyone connected to it. Employees began worrying less about their work and more about their personal safety. The atmosphere of fear eventually became so overwhelming that the Wayfarer Foundation's board made the difficult decision to close the organization. Only weeks earlier, the foundation had been planning future events, working with nonprofit partners, and preparing new grants. More than 100 nonprofit organizations had counted on that support, along with the communities, families, and projects they served. Overnight, those plans disappeared, even though those groups had no involvement in the conflict itself. That is what makes this chapter especially tragic. By the end, the consequences reached far beyond Blake, Justin, or Steve. Countless people who had nothing to do with the original dispute found themselves dealing with its aftermath. It became a powerful reminder that once a conflict grows beyond control, its effects rarely stay limited to the people at the center. It eventually impacts everyone standing nearby.
We didn't want to add to the noise. So we just wanted to let the justice system run its course.
After everything Steve Sarowitz and his family had gone through, many expected him to publicly blame the conflict for what followed. Instead, when he announced that the Wayfarer Foundation would be shutting down, he handled the news with remarkable restraint. Rather than fueling more controversy, he simply explained that he wanted greater privacy and intended to pursue a different approach to philanthropy. He chose not to use the announcement to criticize anyone, even though he had every opportunity to do so. That decision revealed a great deal about his character. It was never a matter of money. Steve had the financial resources to keep the foundation operating for many years. The real challenge was finding a way to continue leading a charitable organization while facing constant distractions, public scrutiny, and ongoing security concerns. Despite the threats, mounting pressure, financial setbacks, and relentless media attention, Steve did not allow resentment to define him. Instead of focusing on revenge or prolonging the conflict, he chose to move forward. He embraced peace over retaliation and decided to let go of anger rather than hold on to it. For him, that reflected strength of character rather than weakness, showing that his principles remained intact even during the most difficult moments. The story presents a different path for Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, suggesting that each setback drew them further into confrontation. According to this account, every obstacle became another battle to fight instead of something to step away from. In the end, the central theme is not simply the dispute itself, but the choices people make when everything around them begins to unravel. It is during life's hardest moments, the story argues, that a person's character is revealed most clearly.
When life is easy.
My goal with Justin is to really be a good partner to him. I'm senior to him, I'm 19 years older, to provide the funding and the encouragement for him to really spread his wings and be.
After suffering major legal setbacks, Blake Lively is now seeking $8 million in legal fees from Justin Baldoni. But Justin's legal team is pushing back, asking the court to either reject or drastically reduce the request. Their argument centers on the numbers. They say Blake's attorneys billed more than 7,000 hours across 82 staff members for a single motion to dismiss, a figure they claim is wildly excessive. To highlight the gap, they compared it with a New York Times defamation case, where similar legal work reportedly cost about $181,000, a fraction of Blake's demand. The criticism doesn't stop there. Victoria Burke, the attorney credited with drafting California's Civil Code 47.1, has publicly questioned Blake's reliance on the statute, arguing it was used in a way the law was never intended. In her view, the court should reject any request for legal fees tied to that strategy. As the dispute moves through court, headlines are giving way to hard numbers, legal arguments, and documented evidence. Meanwhile, Steve Sarowitz says he has spent roughly $40 million defending the case, money he believes should never have been necessary. Yet despite the enormous cost, the outcome has not matched the financial victory Blake reportedly sought. In a recent interview, Steve strongly defended Justin Baldoni and Jamie Heath, calling them the real victims of the conflict and insisting the allegations against them were false. He argued the controversy became a damaging public campaign that harmed reputations long before the legal process unfolded. He also pointed out that most of the claims were dismissed, no money was paid to settle with Justin, and he viewed that result as a hard-earned victory. Steve's role surprised many. Unlike Hollywood insiders, he was the quiet billionaire backing Wayfarer Studios and had trusted Justin from the beginning. According to this account, Blake and Ryan expected the studio to settle quietly to avoid controversy. Instead, Steve refused to back down. For him, the fight was never about protecting a brand, it was about standing by someone he believed had been wrongfully accused.